So a couple of days back, a video came across my feed titled "Being a Comic Artist is Lonely." It's by a YouTuber called Bonier. It's a pretty cool video. Please go check it out in the link down below. But yeah, in the video, she kind of talks about the process of making comics and even uploading comics can be quite lonely. And then she also kind of talks about how, you can kind of negate that, or what she kind of wants with a community in the future, either through YouTube or other websites. And as I watched it, I kind of had my own thoughts and feelings about it. And, I want to talk to any other comic creator that's feeling lonely of how to kind of negate that and what you do. And kind of hope to tell you that it's going to get better, I hope. But yeah, we'll kind of go ahead and talk about it real quick. My personal feelings, honestly, for my process at least, with me integrating YouTube into my comic creation process a lot through making YouTube videos and streaming a lot of the comic process, that really hasn't been an issue for me. And honestly, I'm like a super introverted person, and I work in retail, so like I get most of my human interaction throughout the day at work. And then usually I'm just like, I need to go home and just not talk to a living soul for 10 hours. So that personally for me, it's never really an issue. I kind of enjoy that aspect of making comics. But that being said, I think if you were to become like a professional comic artist, right? I don't know if I have the personality type, or I don't think almost anyone really, even with me being super introverted, to just be able to draw for 10 hours a day and not talk to anyone, and just that would be very mind-numbingly lonely. And there's definitely days where I'm like, I want to do so much. I want to draw for all day. I gotta just be sitting here doing it. Yeah, that can be kind of lonely. That can be pretty mind-numbingly lonely. And you can also get a kind of lonely feeling, say you're just starting out, you don't have any friends that make comics. You're not watching any YouTubers that are making comics. You upload your first couple of chapters, no one's really responding or saying anything. Posting to the void, as they call it. I've been there many of times on many different things, and yeah, that's really lonely. So how do you kind of negate that? How do you work around it? Again, there's a lot of different ways. One I like to do is, it's not probably the most healthiest. It's not really to create parasocial relationships, but literally just watch YouTube. Like streamers, put a streamer on the background, put a YouTube series on the background. That's what I do. That really helps. There is a question to be said about creating parasocial relationships, and you're kind of like watching fake friends. You don't really know them in real life, but like, who cares? We're past that point that we know that it's probably not good for us, but like, it's gonna help. So I don't know if there's really a super healthy way to do that. But like, seriously, watch someone stream, or watch someone, or just watch. My go-to ones personally, I've been watching Disguised Toast play Among Us videos. There's about 1 billion of them, so it's really fun to just put on the side screen to just be sort of paying attention to that, and kind of laugh and hang out with them, it feels like, while I'm doing my art, right? And then I guess there's all these other streamers I watch, Ludwig, Northern Lion, a couple different people, Valkyrie, Disguised Toast, all those guys. But yeah, that's just a really easy one. Hey, you know who else might be streaming? And you can check their YouTube channel to see when they're streaming. This guy. What's great with me being a small creator? It's not gonna be a very parasocial relationship. Whenever you type and say something, I'll probably see it and I can respond. It's great. Selfless plug over. Yeah, that's a good way to kind of solve that initial reaction if you are having those issues while you're drawing. Now, the issue of like when you're posting it and you're wanting to see engagement and you're wanting to kind of grow a fan base, that one's a little harder, and I am in no position of authority to kind of like tell you how to get over that or increase your engagement, because I'm still working on them myself. That being said, I still do have a group of people. I'm not just posting to 0 people, and really with that, it's mostly just honing your craft. I like to think of the Field of Dream reference of, if you build it, they will come. Just kind of always back in my head, if like, it doesn't really matter if I'm posting to 0, it doesn't really matter if I'm posting to no one, as long as I'm making a quality product and I keep posting it or doing something in regular intervals, eventually people will come to me. The internet is a big enough place where if you are truly making something of quality, of something that people want to read or want to watch, people will find it and people will enjoy it. And then just from there, it'll kind of spread naturally. I'm sure there are other ways to kind of increase that. And again, I'm not a person of authority to kind of say those tips and tricks, because I obviously don't have any tips and tricks for that. But really the only one that I've seen in the past that has worked is really consistency for that kind of stuff. If you are looking to kind of post your comic or post YouTube videos in the future. But really, I mean, a lot of people say that, obviously, consistency. But like, a lot of people think consistency means every day. You know, some people think it means every week. It really doesn't. I mean, it could be every month. It could be every 2 months. If you do something, if you upload, you know, a new webcomic chapter, you upload a new video every 2 to 3 months, and you go like, all right, I'm going to do this every 2 months. I'm going to do this every 3 months. And you keep doing that for, you know, 2 years. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have, you know, a pattern. People are going to recognize that, and people are going to keep coming back. But yeah, that's what I got for those kind of topics. And then towards the end of the video, Bonnie 8 kind of talks about how she wished there was a kind of a community for kind of artists and readers all to kind of commingle and talk and kind of, you know, actually have a community. I've kind of talked about this in the past, how there really isn't like a YouTube for webcomics, unfortunately, which really kind of sucks because webcomics are really awesome, obviously. I think the newer kind of sites kind of coming up are trying to do that. Looking at Global Comics, Voice Me's trying to kind of do that. I don't really know what their kind of main plan is. But for me personally, the website that I kind of look to, that I kind of like hoping just really pops off in the next couple of years, is called Namikami. If you haven't heard of that site, go check it out. It's really small still, but basically it is kind of like a YouTube for webcomic creation. There's so many different options on how you can kind of upload your comic and have your own web page and have your series, and there's a little bit of Patreon layers to it with like subscriptions and like customizing and all that. And then on top of that, there's also kind of like a social media aspect side of it, where that's tied to your creator account. So like, you could just be posting a comic and then you could be posting it on your social media. There's a lot of cool stuff with that would allow you to make a community of not only, you know, fellow creators, but fellow readers, and have all that kind of fun stuff enabled into it. Honestly, that's personally one of my favorite new comic sites of these last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. These newer sites have been kind of popping off and, you know, growing. You know, they're kind of like in alpha, beta stages, but now we're kind of getting out of there, but really now we just need readers to kind of move there. You know, I think creators know about them, but there's just no readership quite as big as Webtoon. You know, Webtoon is the top dog in terms of that, and we're kind of at the mercy of that. And Webtoon is trying to make like a more community, you know, make it so we're not all isolated from each other by adding, you know, the creator tab and like all their stuff. But it's still kind of got the Webtoon spin on it. You know, it may not be for everyone, and, you know, everyone's still kind of segregated from originals and Canvas. And with Webtoon not really having so much of an algorithm, it's just kind of still kind of the Wild West. You know, they're still not unified together as well as it could be to make, you know, actual good communities. Like, you couldn't just have Webtoon just be your main site to post everything, you know. You're not just posting your comic and then that's it, and then you're just hoping people follow you. Like, now you really just have to like do other things, unfortunately, as a creator. This video got very sidetracked. But that's fine. These are kind of just my thoughts I have on again, Bonnie's video. Again, that video will be in the description down below. She actually made a comic that I reacted to the webcomic trailer of a couple of years back, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I remember when I subscribed to her, I saw just one of the videos I had already watched, and I was like, oh yeah, I watched that like 2 or 3 years ago. It's a small world. The comic creating industry, especially like indie web comics, Webtoon-esque comics, for the presence on YouTube, I feel like we're actually kind of small to where you could actually run into a lot of the same people. So it's funny. And then I did comment on her video talking about how I actually had a Discord for fellow webcomic creators, you know, in the YouTube sphere. You know, as I'm saying, it's kind of small. And that was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. I just kind of stopped doing it because it was kind of turning into a mess to manage. It's just hard. It was kind of hard for me because I kind of made it, haphazardly, and then I wasn't ready to commit to this something like that. We try to do events and other fun stuff like that, and it just ended up being a whole thing, and it kind of sucked it away from doing YouTube and making comics, which I really just want to be my main focus right now. But that's a whole other story. Again, going super off topic. But yeah, down in the comments down below, tell me if you're having issues with this. Are you really lonely while you're working on your comic and having issues, and just scared to like share, your work to other people or anything else of that nature? Or tell me if you've gone through, bouts, or how you've dealt with that in the past, or any tips and tricks that might help anyone else down below. Again, that's it. That's all I got for today. Thanks for joining. If you didn't catch my previous video, I'm back in full swing. I'm hoping for at least the first 6 months of the year, we're going to be uploading a video every week. We're going to be streaming every week. We're going to be working on the comic for the Webtoon contest. It's really exciting stuff to be back in full swing, be working on a comic. I feel really good about my comic going in. And honestly, even if I don't win, which, the odds are not in my favor, I'm still excited to just make a new comic, a comic I've been wanting to do for the past couple of years, and just finally kind of start getting that going, so I can kind of regularly update it. Yeah, thanks again for joining, and I'll see you guys around.